This is a deplorable production.
Speak in English about what's going on in Cuba because I don't hear a lot of English speakers talking about this and my generation talking about this. Cuba has been under dictatorship for 62 years. So people, for the last 62 years, since 1960s and 1958, around there, people started making homemade boats that we call lanchas and have bringing them to the coast of Florida seeking shelter. Let me explain to you why, because you might be saying, well, they're just immigrants invading because they want to leave their home country. No, it's because us Cubans, we don't complain about anything. It takes a lot for us to complain. So let me tell you what's going on. There's no coffins for dead bodies. If you have a dead family member, they get pronounced dead. They get wrapped in a bed sheet. You get delivered the dead body, and you have to take it home with you. What you do with the body, they don't care. You have to figure it out. If you don't have a car, they don't provide transportation, and you have to take the dead body home walking. There's no drinking water. Food costs $200 US. A pound of rice costs $200 US. You don't want to know how much a 10-pound one costs. My favorite part. Canadian dollars is the currency of Cuba right now. If you don't have family here in the United States to give you money, you have to figure it out. You have to figure it out. Because the only way you can get money in Cuba is if you get it sent to you by here. Oh, and here, it takes months to get to Cuba. They shut off their light and water at 7. As soon as the sun goes down, your electricity gets shut. Internet is shut right now worldwide in Cuba. That's why we're not getting any new news. But we have family there. Everybody's out on the streets right now, just the same way they were yesterday. They're out on the streets right now. There's no medication, there's no Advil, there's no antibiotics, there's no butterfly needles, there's no IVs, there's nothing. And now is when people are hearing the screams out of Cuba. I'm sick and tired of this dictatorship. And my whole life, when we visited Cuba, you could not say a word against the government. But now I can go to my country and say, Diacanel Singao. Fuck the regimen.
Ya salieron con que en Cuba reprimimos, con que en Cuba asesinamos. ¿Dónde están los asesinatos cubanos? ¿Dónde está la represión cubana? ¿Dónde están los desaparecidos en Cuba?
In the meantime, can I take you to Cuba and tell us a little bit about your thoughts there? I do want to get your reaction to Senator Bernie Sanders. He was responding to our own Peter Doocy on his past support of Cuban policies. Watch.
Last year during the campaign, you said that it's unfair to simply. Do you still share that sentiment now that the people there seem to be?
Well, I support throughout Latin America and in Cuba and every place else the right of people to protest for a decent economy and for political freedom.
Senator?
Well, it's interesting that Bernie says he supports the right of people to protest. You know who doesn't support that right? The Cuban communist dictatorship that Bernie also supports. Right now, the Cuban thugs are out there arresting protesters. They're throwing them in jail. They're clubbing them. They're beating them. And this is not new. For decades, the communist dictatorship in Cuba has committed murder, has committed torture, has committed incredible atrocities. And Dana, as you know, for me, this is not just a theoretical matter. My father was imprisoned and tortured by Batista, Castro's predecessor. My aunt, my tia Sonia, was imprisoned and tortured by Castro. So my family, like so many millions of other Cuban families, have seen the brutal oppression of communism firsthand. And I got to say, watching these images, watching Cuban people in the streets, risking their lives. When you stand up and protest, it's one thing to wave a flag here in the U.S. where you're not risking your life. There, they are literally risking imprisonment and death. And the American people stand with the people of Cuba. And I got to say, the Biden administration has been terrible on this. You know, they put out a statement saying this shows their right to peaceful assembly. No, it shows a communist dictatorship trying to silence their speech. And the Biden administration claims these protests are about COVID. They just want some more COVID shots. No, these protests, they are yelling libertad. They are yelling freedom in the streets. They're yelling down with the dictatorship, and they're waving American flags. What a beautiful symbol of freedom the American flag is across the globe. And yet Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can't seem to figure out why that freedom is important and why those people are standing up and risking their lives.
63 años de represión en este país, de 63 años de dictadura. Maricón, pero si no tu madre, año, vida, chingao.
¿Por qué hicieron esto si en mi casa no hay nada? Revisaron todo. En mi casa no hay nada. Mira lo que le han hecho a mi marido, mira. Se lo llevaron todos los boinas rojas, acabaron con mi casa. Mira, acabaron todo, me rompieron la puerta, todo. Todo me lo rompieron. Cuñado, le dieron un tiro a mi marido que adentro. Se metieron por aquí, le cayeron a tiro. Se puede tenerlo en el piso lleno de tiros. Mira, tiene sangre, le cayeron a piña, lo montaron como si fuera un cuerpo dentro de un camión. Más de 100 personas y se lo llevaron. Aquí en la sala, mira, aquí. No lo pude ver.
Hizo que la policía abriera el paso. Aquí está el video. Si antes de que termine el programa podemos confirmar que realmente Camagüey es una provincia libre, la primera provincia libre dentro de Cuba, pues lo confirmaremos. Si no, quedémonos con estas imágenes. Ponme el audio, Sandy, por favor. Ese es mi pueblo de Camagüey.
Oye, Gustavo, no hagas esto.
everywhere. We need help in Cuba. I'm telling you this message in English because we need to reach the Americans and all of the non-Cubans. We need somebody to help us. Venezuela has army in Cuba killing unarmed, starving children. These kids are 13, they're 19 years old, they don't know any better. They're literally getting charged for treason, for not fighting their own people. Please, we need help, we need urgency. A lot of Americans don't know what's going on. We need urgency in this matter quick. There are a lot of Cubans that are dying. Please help us get the word out. Hashtag SOS Cuba, keep it trending on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere that there is social media, that there is a voice. Hashtag SOS Cuba, anything related to Cuba. Cuba libre, libertad para los cubanos.
Sigue la tienda.
Así es como único. Así es como único.
Mira, represión. Mira cómo le dan golpe, mira.
Oye, pero ¿qué?
Abusador.
Because they've shut off the internet access that the Cubans had, the little internet access that they did have to get the message and these videos out. So we really don't know what is going on in the island, but it is being reported that the people were being beaten, that some protesters had disappeared, and there's been a crackdown by this communist regime that historically has beaten, jailed, and killed dissidents, people who have spoken out against the government. What I would like to see President Biden do is be very strong and say unequivocally that we stand with the Cuban people against a communist dictatorship and that we want to see freedom. We want to see a move toward free and fair elections, allowing the Cuban people to determine their future. But certainly for the short term, we also want the internet access to be put on, allow the people to protest without being attacked and abused by government officials, and allowing them to speak their hearts and minds at this moment. It's such a pivotal moment. And in addition to that, I mean, look, the situation in Cuba is so dire. They don't have food. They don't have access to aspirin, to soap, basic things. And that is why they are uprising right now. They've had enough. They are tired of living in squalor and seeing the communist regime take everything that comes into this island and live as kings while the people live in squalor.
All right. Now, we have been able to confirm, to your point, Congresswoman, that Cuban authorities have apparently shut down all social media sites. They include Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, among others. I wonder if you've been able to reach family members there and what they are telling you.
We have not heard anything, and obviously social media is the way that they communicate. Right. We have not heard anything, and certainly we're concerned about the status of what's happening there. But I think it's very important right now for Democrats and Republicans, just put the politics aside, understand that there are people who want basic human rights. Okay, liberties and freedoms that we take for granted in this country. And to hear Bernie Sanders blame the United States of America is absolutely shameful, that he is covering for a communist, brutal, murderous regime. And quite frankly, that point is complete nonsense.
Esto es lo que hay que hacer. Así lo que tenemos que hacer, caballero. Está bueno, tanta mentira, tanta falsedad. Dime hacer. No, vos pa' ahí. Oye, ya está bueno, caballero. Vamos. Ya está bueno, ¿cómo es esto? ¡No! ¡Puede ser así! Nosotros estamos los primeros. Jamás será vencido. Está bueno, tanta mentira. Mira el pueblo completo. No tenemos miedo. ¡Al combate! ¡No temáis una
¿Qué pasó?
Dina, ¿quieres decir algo?
Que no oye.
La seguridad del Estado está allá afuera.
¿Está fuera la seguridad?
Tengo que salir.
Te están llamando.
Voy a dejar a mi amiga aquí.
Sí, sal, nos quedamos en espera aquí.
La van a detener en directo.
No sé.
Tristemente la van a detener en directo.
No sé si podéis. Eso es, para ver qué va a pasar. A ver, estamos viendo...
No podemos grabar ahora. No podemos grabar ahora afuera.
¿Podemos escuchar lo que le dicen?
Voy a ver.
Que no te pongas en peligro, evidentemente, pero si se puede escuchar la conversación.
A ver si se puede escuchar.
Pero no te pongas en peligro, por favor.
Funcionario.
No sé si se ve, no sé si se ve.
Estamos viendo en directo cómo la seguridad llama a nuestro contacto en Cuba y habla con ella. Estamos en directo y no sabemos lo que va a pasar a partir de ahora.
Alguien de aquí habrá llamado a Cuba y habrá avisado que estaba en la televisión.
Estamos viendo por lo menos a ella, a ver qué ha pasado.
Ahí vuelve.
Dina.
Vale. ¿Escuchan?
Sí, Dina.
A ver, me llevan para Zapata y C, en vivo desde España. Hago responsable al gobierno de cualquier cosa que me pueda pasar.
Dina.
Me tengo que ir.
Dina, sí. Te van a detener Te van a detener.
No lo sé, me dijeron que lo acompañaron. No lo sé, me dijeron que los acompañaron.
¿Vas tú sola?
No, bueno, sí. Mis amigos irán detrás.
Tus amigos irán. Bueno, pues...
Me tengo que ir.
Ve.
Bye.